Hey guys, welcome to Channel 2S. I'm your host, Second Soundwave, and today we'll be looking at the Master Grade Jinx 3. Just like the last few P-Bandai models I've reviewed, this kit was supplied to me by the Hangar Bay, so a big thank you to them for making this review possible. If you want to get a Jinx 3 of your own, you can follow the links down in the description below. They'll take you right to the Hangar Bay store where they have over 100 P-Bandai kits in stock and ready to ship within one business day. So definitely go check them out if you're interested in this or any other P-Bandai models. I'm also trying out a new setup that's hopefully not going to produce as much glare, although in reality it'll probably be just like the old set where I'll have absolutely no idea how good or bad the footage is until I'm editing it later on. But anyways, Jinx 3. As a design, the Jinx is really weird. Although I've always found the Jinx 3 to be the most normal looking out of the bunch. Maybe it's because they toned down the giant clavicle antenna. Actually, yeah, it's pretty much just that. As a Master Grade model, the Jinx 3 does a very good job capturing the likeness of the mobile suit you see on screen. Everything's molded in all the right colors, and they even got the multicolored look of the armor without having to resort to the massive thigh stickers that the high grade had. Instead, what they do is they give you two different versions of each runner, one in white, one in red. You're supposed to pick parts from each in order to match the canon color scheme, and what you just saw is a unfortunate reality of dealing with this kit. If you're not familiar with the Master Grade Jinx, the original Master Grade Jinx, let me fill you in. I can't say for certain whether or not the original Jinx specifically is a good or bad kit, as I haven't built it, but just by going off what I have here in front of me, I am not surprised by the kit's reputation. The Master Grade Jinx is probably one of the most hated Master Grades Bandai's released in a long time. Most of this comes down to the general build quality of the kit. Many parts of the model are incredibly loose or have a tendency to loosen up over time, leaving you with floppy limbs and self-disassembling armor. Now, starting with the Advanced Jinx, they supposedly retooled the kit to try to fix some of these problems. And from what I understand, the Jinx 3 has all of those same fixes. Unfortunately though, they don't seem to be lasting. As you might have guessed from the massive time gap between the unboxing and this review, I've had this kit for quite a while. And for the first few weeks I had this kit built up, he was fine. He was solid, in fact a little too solid in some places. I had to actually sand down the pegs on his hips just so they wouldn't screech like a dying animal whenever I tried to move his legs. And the knees aren't really much better. This is actually as fast as I can move them without breaking something. Right from the moment I built this kit, I did notice that these flaps on his chest were attached pretty loosely, but fortunately in this particular case, it's basically a non-issue since they're so small that they don't have much weight to them anyways. Much more harmful, unfortunately, are the ankles, which, yes, still have problems. There's a lot of joints on these ankles. There's this wiggly joint in the top, there's a hinge below it, there's a few different joints on the feet that can all move around and do things. And now it should be noted that properly posing the kit with its feet completely flat on the ground really does alleviate a lot of the problems with the ankle joints. Even after the ankle joints have loosened up, if you're just leaving this kit standing on a shelf, take a little time to make sure that his feet are properly placed on the ground and he shouldn't give you any issues. But if you pick the kit up and you move it around and you set it down a lot and you fiddle around with the legs, it's very easy to find yourself in a position where you have a Jinx that is very precariously leaning forward. And while we're on the subject of loose parts, there's these weird floating bits on the chest that wiggle around freely for absolutely no reason. Even if this does help with articulation, it would have been nice if these were on a more firm joint and not just loosely wobbling around. To be completely fair to this kit, it does have some pretty cool gimmicks. He has the usual Master Grade cockpit hatch, but because the Jinx is a strange boy, he has it not in his chest, but in his crotch. As weird as this is, I do kind of like how the seat slowly slides up as you open the hatch. Unfortunately though, the pilot figures for the original Jinx are on one of the runners that is left absent on this kit, and no new pilots are provided. So your Jinx 3 is going to be forever empty. The coolest gimmicks on this kit though, by far, are all centered around the GN drive. So the first really cool thing you can do with this is kind of grab it around the base so that your thumb is pushing in on this gray bit, and then if you grab around the white part here and pull it out. Okay, so that might not have looked impressive, but what actually happened was this. These little gray circular parts popped out ever so slightly, and this translucent purple ring was exposed. Yeah, crazy stuff, right? So as underwhelming as that might look right now, it's actually really satisfying to do this in person. And if you put a couple of purple LED units in here, which you absolutely can do, it looks even cooler. The coolness of the GN drive continues though, because if you take that little gray piece you had your finger on before and intentionally pull it down, you can then take the entire GN drive and remove it from the body. This is a really cool feature that they carried over from the Gundam Exia, and it's especially appropriate for the Jinx because if you ever saw the 00 anime, you'll know that the first time you see the Jinxes, you actually just see their GN drives all stacked up in a big long row in some kind of assembly factory. Or at least I think it was a factory. It's been a while since I've seen 00. In order to replicate that scene, you get this cool little ring piece that you can drop the GN drive into and display it on its own. If you have the money to buy like 20 Master Grade Jinxes, you can also chain all the GN drive bases together by using these little tabs and slots. The weapons this kit comes with are really cool as well. You get this beam style bullpup machine gun. It's got a tab in the back that moves, it's got a handle up front that moves, and if you flip the front handle off to the side, you can take this barrel extension and attach it on to make a full-sized beam cannon. Another carryover from the original Jinx is the Jinx Shield. The Jinx Shield takes a few cues from the original flag and overflag with its extendable spinning doohickey that apparently stops beams or something. It made sense on the flag and the overflag since they were super lightweight mobile suits, so they couldn't afford the weight of a full shield. But in the Jinx it feels really weird because you got this normal shield and then the spinning shield on top of it. But then again, weird and impractical is kind of the general theme of this suit, so I guess it still kind of works. Now we come to the exclusive weapon of the Jinx 3, the brand new piece made for this P-Bandai model, his lance. And boy oh boy is this a cool lance. The detail on this is great. They got the machine gun barrels on the inside and they even did the little red tip on the end. This slot on the handle can tab into his hand so we can hold it like a normal lance. Or you can extend out this piece and rotate out the secondary handle for some lance gun action. I was really impressed by how well he holds the lance in both modes. I've had some bad luck with the 2.0 style hands in the past, but the Jinx holds his weapons very securely. The rifle connection feels especially secure since the bulk of the weight is being held by the arm connector and not the actual hand itself. The shield just plugs right into his arm and it holds on fine, although it is a little bit loose. It's not going to fall off on its own, but if you tap it even lightly, it's pretty easy to knock it out of place. The Jinx 3's final weapons are a pair of beam sabers that are stored inside of the thigh armor. You get some standard sized red MG beams for these. I'm not going to show them to you because you've already seen beam sabers 100 times before. Speaking of weapon storage, you also get a clip that allows you to attach the rifle to either of his side skirts. You just push this piece down in and then attach this around the barrel. The clip that goes around the rifle is very, very tight, almost scarily tight. However, this does mean that it is completely impossible to knock the rifle loose by accident. So just like in the visual department, the Jinx does pretty well when it comes to gimmicks and accessories. I wish I could say the same about the articulation though. There are a few places on this kit where it meets the standard for a modern Master Grade, but most of the articulation on this kit is just plain bad. The shoulders only come up to here, the legs only go this far forwards, he's got 90-degree knees, and unfortunately those are some of the most instrumental joints when it comes to posing a kit. The rest of the articulation isn't that bad, his leg can come out pretty far. The side skirts are attached on a couple different joints that allow them to get just far enough out of the way, and barring the shoulders, the arms have pretty normal articulation. He's also got all the usual swivels, and since there's no armor around it to restrict it, his waist movement is actually really nice. The head also features some unexpectedly good movement thanks to the unusual neck design. The base of the neck is placed a good head's width behind the actual head itself, so the model's head can be swung around in front of the collar, or over it if you want to take things even farther. This also allows for fantastic vertical movement. There's even a flap on the back of the head that opens up to give him more range. And of course there's the infamous ankles. As I pointed out before, there's quite a few joints here to work with. It wiggles up here, this moves, this moves, this moves for some reason, this moves, this moves, this moves, and yeah, you can probably see now why this kit has so many balance problems. The Jinx 3's ankles are living proof that there sometimes is such a thing as too much articulation. Thanks to its bizarre combination of excessively and insufficiently mobilized joints, there's really not a lot you can do with the Jinx 3. If you want to have one or two of these standing guard flanking another mobile suit, that's probably going to work out just fine. Anything more than that, and I'm not even sure an action base would help you. A lot of this is a result of the Jinx's unorthodox design, but I think some of it also comes from the way this kit was designed. Pretty much the only reason we got a Master Grade Jinx in the first place was because it won a popularity poll. So the kit really wasn't very well planned out by Bandai. Unfortunately, this shows very clearly, doubly so now that this mold is almost 10 years old. So in the end, can I recommend the Master Grade Jinx 3 Outlaws colors? The answer is not really. I definitely wouldn't say this is the worst model I've built. It's not even close to the worst model I've built. But it's definitely not something I'd recommend to anyone either. Even if you're considering picking one up just for the unusual build, it's not as unusual as you might think. A lot of the inner frame on this kit was taken directly from the Gundam Exia, and its utilization in this model feels incredibly forced. It's another unfortunate effect of this kit's what I can only assume was rushed development. And even if you're a really hardcore Gundam 00 fan, which is honestly the only group of people I'd recommend this to, you're probably already planning on buying one anyways, so my recommendation really won't do a whole lot for you. But anyways, if you do still want to get this kit, there is a link to the Hangar Bay store down below. And since I can't wholeheartedly recommend the Jinx itself, I've also included a few links to some other kits I reviewed that I can give a far more positive recommendation. So go down there, check them out, but thanks anyways to Hangar Bay for supplying this kit, and thank you for watching this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more Gunpla news and reviews, and with any luck, the next time we meet, we'll be looking at a much better kit. Take care, guys.